Hey, thanks for reaching out. So I have a couple of ideas, but I don't know if this is going to solve the issue that you're looking for. So bear with me. If it doesn't, let me know, and we'll keep on chewing on this. So communication, typically like theory and communication, that's a pretty solid keyword. But and now I'm looking at the monitor over here. But when you look at like direct communication, there's like shouting or like shoving or assertive or yelling. I don't know what the direct communication can be like. So we could probably expand on the keywords. So that's what I'm going to show you. And then how I would go about sorting those things out. I have a couple of tips for you as well. But there's a lot of ambiguous stuff that's mixed in too. So you'll have to just look through. So with your favorite AI, mine currently is Gemini, you can say, what did I ask? What are keywords related to direct communication? So the AI are tools of synthesis where they're grabbing precedents, and they also bubble up like what some of the most popular terms are. So you can ask for keywords. And here it'll say explicitness. Let's see, what did I write that down? I wrote explicit. Directness, clarity, conciseness, straightforwardness, that's a good one. So what you can do, frankness, allow me to be frank, or candor. Some of these you might not use. Like this is something that might be like in literature. Forthrightness might be something from like the 1920s. So be that as it may. When you go into the library databases, you can use some of those keywords. I'm going to show you another database at the same time because we want to know what like the best stuff is. So if you go to the databases and go to Web of Science or Scopus, they both do similar things where you can sort by number of times cited. So Scopus. The cool thing about communication is it's multidisciplinary. And so is the library catalog, so is Web of Science, and so is Scopus. This is kind of like the greatest hits of all the disciplines that you can see on campus. So I'm going to start doing a search. I'm going to do communication, and I'm going to do a star. And what that means is communication or communications. Sometimes there'll be some people who use the plural. And then in the next field, instead of going into the gender yet, I'm just going to start with that list of synonyms. So direct or directness, and we know that if you do a star, you don't need to do or directness. It'll catch it, all the suffixes. So I'm going to do direct or assertive or explicit or overt or frankness. We'll see if that shows up in there. So you could go back and forth and just like expand. Openness, transparency, straightforwardness. You could just add the keywords as you go ad nauseum because we're just casting a net to see which scholarly fish we can catch. But it's not a smart search. It's only looking for the letters and the keywords. So it depends on what the researcher said. And then, so you'll see there's an and here. So we're still looking at communication. And then and I want to make sure it is where people are working. And there's a lot of research done on this because of like the 20th century wanting to make everything into a big office. So something that you may or may not know is if it's more than one keyword, like place of employment, a concept, or a string, you'd put it in quotes. Okay, so first search I do, just to get like the best of the best, I don't want to search anywhere. I want to search in the article title. Just to see, just to like ultra narrow it down before I go into gender or anything like that. There's one. That's great. So if it's relevant, we're like, okay, this is good. So there's a book about that. So we might have to back out a little bit and just search in the abstract. Yay, there's 3,443. You could, if you wanted to, come up from the 1880s. I had no idea it went back that far. So I'm going to come up to the pandemic. Assuming there's articles that have been written about this since the pandemic. Hey, there's 1,100 still. And then I want to sort by the number of times something has been cited. And so, we're looking for communication. Oh, I want workplace success, factors that influence performance. So it's kind of, it got out into the weeds. So in this one, you might want to have communication be in the title, and maybe the abstract, or maybe the workplace should be in the title. So communication ethics, competency, communication technology. This is kind of close, so you just kind of negotiate your way around that. When you get close to something you're interested in, then you can add another line, and you can add constructions of gender. I'll do gender, women, and then there's only one. So this one might be where we push off from the workplace and go back to the abstract. 7 documents found. Ooh, I didn't think about interpersonal. Saudi Arabia, so gender and women shows up in there. Differences in communication in the law. And you can go back in date range too, so if you want to find like earlier precedents. But the world has changed dramatically. So this is how I would go about it. Patient-doctor communication, negotiating identity in race and gendered workplace interactions. So this is how I would go about it. If you're unfamiliar with Scopus, there's a couple things you should be aware of. You can click on this and see the abstract, and then you can see their references that they used. You can also, if you find an article that you think is like really great, where did that, oh, patient-doctor communication, and it's not related to the workplace, it still can contribute to the topic that you're talking about because it's gendered communication. So what you could do, if that was a good one, is you could just like get rid of the workplace to cite examples that built what you wanted to say in addition to the ones that were in the workplace. But if this one turns out to be one that's really good, you can go over and see who's cited it since 2003. How to talk to parents. It's impossible. And then you can sort that by number of times cited. And you can say, what are they talking about? Is there anything gendered in here? Doesn't look like there's a lot. So sometimes you run aground and you just have to like back out. Does this help? Let me know how it goes. Also for the indirect communication, you're going to have to maybe do different searches with that original search that we had. So you might have to swap this out. But it's kind of like going through a box of puzzle pieces. You're sifting for one color, and then you're sifting for another color, and then strategically you're building a case for each of the points that you want to make. Hope this helps. Let me know how it goes.